They stole my company. They erased my name. And at my own retirement party, they thanked each other for my success. I smiled because they had no idea I had already destroyed them. What they didn't understand in that moment was that I wasn't smiling out of grace. I was smiling because the trap had already closed. My name is Bernice Whitmore. I'm 62 years old. And last year, my husband and my protégé tried to bury me alive. Not with dirt, with betrayal. Betrayal doesn't suffocate you immediately. It seeps in slowly. It makes you question your memory, your instincts, your worth. But what they forgot is that women like me were not raised to collapse. We were raised to endure and to think. I built Whitmore Interiors from my dining room table 34 years ago. Investors, no inheritance, no rich parents, just talent, sleepless nights, and a husband who said, "Go for it, Bernie. I believe in you." I believed in him too. Back then, our first office was a folding table beside the refrigerator. I sketched designs while stirring soup, took client calls while folding laundry, and chased invoices after midnight. There were months we barely made the mortgage, but I kept going because I believed loyalty was something you built your life on. I put the company in both our names because that's what loyal wives do. And when Claire joined us fresh out of college, I trained her myself. She was bright, eager, hungry. I saw myself in her. She would sit in my office for hours asking how I landed my first client, how I negotiated without losing myself, how I commanded a room. I told her everything, every strategy, every vulnerability. She called me her mentor, her inspiration, her work mom. I called her family. Looking back, that was my first mistake. Sometimes the people closest to you aren't admiring you. They're studying you. The signs were small at first, closed door meetings, conversations that stopped when I entered. Whispers. Claire began making decisions without copying me on emails. My husband started staying late at the office. When I asked, they laughed. "You worry too much. You deserve to relax." It sounded caring. It was strategic. Then one morning, I couldn't access my own company account. My password had been changed by my husband. He called it restructuring. Claire avoided my eyes. 2 weeks later, I was called into a board meeting. My own board. Folders were placed at every seat with my name printed on them. They had voted. I was being transitioned out. Claire would take over as CEO. My husband would support her leadership. They spoke about fresh vision and new energy as if experience were a disease. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I thanked them for their time and went home. That night, our joint account was almost empty. 3 days later, I found out the truth. They weren't just business partners. They were lovers. For 2 years of knowing glances across conference tables I built. 2 years of secrets whispered in hallways with my name on the door. In my office, in my home when I was traveling. At retreats I paid for. I found messages, plans, mocking comments about how old school I was. The humiliation was suffocating. I wasn't just replaced. I was mocked. And the worst part, they thought I was weak, old, emotional. Finished. They had already planned my retirement party. A celebration of my exit, but betrayal either breaks you into pieces or sharpens you into something precise. They chose the wrong woman to underestimate. I may be 62, but I read every contract I signed. And when I made Claire partner, I added one small clause, a loyalty clause. If any partner engaged in misconduct that damaged the company's integrity, their shares would revert to the original founder. Me 2 months before they forced me out, Claire signed off on a supplier contract that violated our ethical agreement. I knew. I said nothing. I documented everything: emails, signatures, timestamps. Revenge isn't emotional. It's calculated. I let them think I was retreating. I let them decorate the ballroom. I let them rehearse their speeches. Because sometimes revenge needs patience. The night of the retirement party, chandeliers glowed over white roses and a banner that read "Celebrating Bernice's Legacy." Champagne flowed. A slideshow of my achievements played. Claire wore red. My husband held her waist when he thought no one was watching. They thanked each other and called me a visionary, stepping aside gracefully. Then they handed me a gold watch, 62 years old, ticking away. I walked to the microphone, smiled, and said, "Before I officially retire, I'd like to share one last company update." The room quieted. I projected an email thread, Claire, approving the unethical contract. Gasps followed. Then another slide. Private messages between her and my husband. Company timestamps attached. Silence swallowed the ballroom. Then I displayed the loyalty clause. Effective immediately, her shares were revoked. And as co-owner through marriage, my husband's financial transfers were under investigation. I had already filed. The paperwork was complete. Security was waiting. Claire tried to speak. No one listened. Investors don't like scandal. My husband went pale. He finally looked old. Him. I walked out majority owner again. 2 weeks later, I filed for divorce. Claire lost her career. My husband lost his comfort. And I rebranded myself. I cut my hair, traveled alone, Saturday in quiet cafes, and realized I wasn't betrayed because I was weak. I was betrayed because I had something worth stealing. Here's what I've learned. Betrayal doesn't break you. It reveals people. It reveals who envies you, who studies you, who waits for your guard to drop. They thought my age made me irrelevant. They thought kindness meant weakness. They thought silence meant surrender. They were wrong. You don't always need to scream. You don't need to flip tables. Sometimes the most powerful revenge is letting people underestimate you while you quietly secure the ending. So if they think you're too old, too quiet, too soft, smile and let them, because the best revenge is watching them clap while they walk into their own collapse. My name is Bernice, and I don't get mad. I get even. Wetiadi, wake.